Hi, I think I want to do a short video on vegetarianism and veganism, just a general idea of not eating meat, staying off meat, understanding how you can't necessarily push that onto a next generation. And that's the point I want to make in this video, is that you shouldn't push on the eating of meat to a next generation, no matter how much you experience it. That's obviously what we're doing. When we talk about you imposing, we're not telling you not to be happy, that you can't eat meat anymore to get your satisfaction. We're just saying don't impose the idea on someone else. It doesn't necessarily say it's sort of like don't impose the God idea on someone if all you're going to do is torture them with that idea by saying they're going to go to hell now because you had them acknowledge the existence of a God now, and now that they're going to be sucked into that whole dialogue, the whole fantasy of religion. You shouldn't suck them into it. Don't impose religion. Don't impose something like this. Don't impose negative ideas unless you're doing it for the greater good of everyone, the sentient being, the satisfaction and and taking away the deprivation and the suffering and mitigating that. It's about coming from the right side. So vegetarianism, don't impose it onto a next generation. You can still satisfy yourself. Obviously, we would prefer you. Obviously, I'm a work in progress and vegetarian. When I cook for myself, I don't cook any meat. So I'm obviously trying my best to become a full-time vegetarian. And I'm trying my best to eat as little meat as possible. So this isn't coming from a full-time, experienced vegetarian, but it's coming from someone that's coming from the right place, at least hopefully, and understanding and facilitating the philosophy of not eating meat. So yeah, obviously there's some social ramifications for not eating meat. Obviously, if you're going out with, and socializing and whatever, and you're eating out with someone else, then obviously you're gonna have to find the vegetarian thing on the menu and whatever, and there's things like that you have to consider. But obviously you can still find a way. You can obviously be mostly, it's sort of like the idea you can still be a vegetarian, but it's about spending the money. Obviously, people are vegetarians for different reasons. They don't want to. It's obviously a lot of times it's mostly an ethical thing, but obviously it can also be a dietary thing. But say someone gives you, someone wastes some money on some crap that you like some, chicken breasts or something like that. It's about buying. It's about contributing, and that's the main thing. You shouldn't contribute. That's more of an idea of a vegetarian. You're not using your own money, your own motivation, your own power to buy the food, and you're not doing that. And you're not endorsing it by buying it. You may eat it. You may eat something that someone else gets and gets to you, and it has meat in it. Okay, well, I don't want to waste this food. It's already been bought. It's already. I mean, if it's old, it already makes it almost irrelevant that you eat it. Obviously, you're still eating it. But vegetarianism is more about not contributing to the meat market that we're part of. So when you're eating meat, it's more of a matter of how you got to eating that meat to begin with. So if you're eating a can of noodle soup or chicken noodle soup, or eating a chicken breast, if it's already been bought or if it's going to go bad, it's sitting in the back of the refrigerator for a while and you didn't notice it until now, and you've already considered yourself, oh, well, if it's already here, I can't return it now, I might as well eat it. But don't eat enough so that you can get back into the whole idea of buying and eating and buying and eating. It's about contributing to the meat market and contributing to factory farming. That's all we're doing every time we force animals on these farms. We're milking them, we're chopping them up, we're feeding them, we're keeping them in horrible conditions where they defecate all over themselves. Obviously, there's nothing we can do. They're stuck to they're stuck in a little, in a little hidey hole for, their whole life, and then they die in their own manure. And then we ship them off. Sometimes we puncture their head and execute them. We breed them to destroy them. And that's the point. We're not contributing to the factory farming. We're not contributing to the meat market to extend the life of this whole concept of meat eating. Obviously, it's gonna hopefully we're gonna mitigate against the meat eating, and hopefully eventually it'll be to the point to where we have no choice to not eat meat. That's obviously something that we should be doing. Just because you eat meat doesn't mean you're not a vegetarian. It's obviously the philosophy more that counts, and not bringing it to a next generation, and not contributing to factory farming and things like that. So yeah, meat eating is not something that I would endorse, because all we're doing is doing the same thing over and over again. And this idea that if you have no choice, sort of like if you have something in your house, you're more likely to eat it if you're weak of mind. Say you're weak of mind, you have all sorts of sweets around your house. If you don't buy it, then you're not going to feel weak unless you have some kind of strength and conviction. I want to go to the store just to pick up a candy bar, or pick up a whole stack of candy bars. If you don't buy it at the store, then you won't feel this, and you don't have it just laying around your house. You won't have as much of a drive, as much of a feel of necessary, a need to eat that meat or eat whatever you buy. Sort of like the other example that I mentioned of, once you've satisfied it, obviously it's the satisfaction, the hunger. You're satisfying your hunger. That's all you're doing. You're satisfying some hunger. You're chewing on something. It goes down your throat, and there, your body takes over. The automatic processes of your body take over, and you're just chewing and swallowing. You're filling up your throat. Your hands are the mechanism by which you grab your food and stuff it in your mouth to initiate the mechanism, and that's all we're doing. So once you're satisfied, be it a bowl of rice, pasta, or something like that, meat, whatever. It's just a matter of being satisfied, and it only matters beforehand. And if you don't have the thing, say, laying around your house that you want beforehand, unless you live right next door to a store, there's no point in going to the store and obviously just say, let's live with what I've got right now. And you end up just having a bowl of rice and some vegetables or whatever, some saffron in your rice, I don't know, or some pasta, and you just live with that. Put some butter in your pasta, some salt and pepper, and you just make the meal from there. That's all you need to do. And then once you're satisfied, you're done. You don't need to eat the meat. You're satisfied your hunger, and that's all you're doing. Satisfied, not satisfied. And it doesn't matter how you get that satisfaction. If you didn't have any meat laying around the house, you're not contributing to the meat market, factory farming, things like that, contributing to the nonstop reproduction of animals, only for them to be milked and executed for our own tasty desires. I think it's completely pointless. Next time you're in a very stressful situation, think about how all this is happening to animals on a day-to-day basis out in the wild and in factory farming. Think about how bad you feel, the worst moment, and think about how you're treating animals when you force them into factory farms and you contribute to their execution in slaughterhouses. So imagine that. Imagine having that. Even though they may not have an expectation or know what's going on, they're still going to be put through horrible situations, and it's not going to be a pretty thing. They usually have to they slit their throat sometimes. If you want me to give you graphic details, I'm not going to go into it. I'm not going to make this an emotional video, but they do all sorts of negative things. It's torture. You're bringing them here. The fact that you're just imposing them here just to satisfy your hunger. Imagine doing that yourself. Imagine being the mouse that has to be injected with some kind of chemical. Gives you cancer to check for curenesses. We're obviously no pain, no gain. Obviously, we're doing it for something that obviously is less conscious, and probably less intelligent than us, but still has a meaningful conscious of pain and suffering and deprivation and satisfaction. But we don't necessarily know the circumstances because they may be experiencing much richer life, just not as an intelligent life or quite as aware and more in the moment kind of life. More by the mechanism by which controls them, being controlled by the mechanism, but they still feel. And that's the thing. And that's what we need to recognize. So yes, don't contribute to factory farming and things like that. And you don't have it laying around your house. You're satisfied. You got what you need. That's fine. You don't need anything else. So thank you, and until next time, don't eat meat, or try your best. Don't pass it on to next generations. And don't contribute to factory farming and things like that. Just eat what you got. Bye.